Ladies and gentlemen, what is up, and welcome to today's detective video, where Marvel Contest of Champions about 40 minutes ago released this official image on their Facebook page detailing the first 120 champions. So currently in the game there are only 104 champions that have been released, excluding Maestro, and this details 104 of them with 16 blank spaces. However, this list is actually in alphabetical order, so the first thing your boy did was I brought up the Marvel A to Z and also the timeline of kind of events and movie tie-ins that are coming to hopefully have a fairly accurate prediction of the next 16 characters added to Marvel Contest of Champions. We also have, like, for a couple of champions, I'm not really too sure 100% on them, but there are a few that I am like 100% sure it is that champion and no other option. So yeah, we've got a pretty, well, I don't want to say 100% confirmed, but a pretty likely confirmation for quite a few characters on this list, and some that people, myself included, are going to be so incredibly happy about. So anyway, let's cover this image and go through. So the first one is actually one of the big kind of still question marks for me. It's between, in terms of alphabetical, Black Widow and also Cable. So the only two characters that I really see fitting this bill are either Bullseye or Boomerang. So Bullseye, obviously a Daredevil villain, and Boomerang appears in both Daredevil and Spider-Man. So Boomerang might be a tie-in, especially if we kind of look at the timeline with the events that we've got coming up. So it's the Guardians 2 event, which is going on at the moment with Nebula and Yondu, and then we have Spider-Man, and I think with Spider-Man, this is like a great opportunity over the summer to milk the franchise. So I think what they're going to be really doing, I expect to see like a 2 or 3 month Spider-Man event, a lot of new characters, and then after that we have the PVC event, which a lot of people speculate to be Punisher versus Carnage, and we can see with number 2 on this list between Captain Marvel and Civil Warrior, like, I think it's pretty much the only character it can be. I had a look at the list, it has to be Carnage. I'm pretty sure this is Carnage, 1,000,000% confirmed right here. But obviously, due maybe a little bit later in the year. And then the next one we have is between Deadpool and Doctor Strange. I think this is pretty obviously to me. I'm not 100% sure on this one, but Dr. Octopus also backed up a little bit in this article about kind of the design of Angela. They're talking about kind of upcoming characters, and they mention that there's one character in development that's going to have tentacle-like appendages. So I'm pretty sure that's an additional hint that is almost, I'm not going to say 100% confirmed, but pretty likely to be Dr. Octopus there. So that's pretty damn cool. And then we go down a little bit. So after Ghost Rider and King Groot, this is kind of the space that we're looking at here. I think it's going to be, there are 2 spaces actually. We have one for, I'm pretty sure one's going to be Gladiator Hulk, kind of tying around for Ragnarok, the release of that later this year. But I think it's maybe likely that the other one could be Green Goblin. There are a few characters that could possibly fit into this void. So one thing I'm really interested in as well, you know, if you have any alternate predictions, if you're like, no, seeing it could be this character instead, let me know in the comments below. But I think for those 2 spaces, I think Green Goblin and Gladiator Hulk just fit in so incredibly perfectly. And the next one we have is between Hawkeye and Hood. And I'm pretty sure this one's Hobgoblin. Again, I'm not 100% sure on this, but Hobgoblin seems pretty likely. And then we have not too many question marks for a little while. The next one is just after King Groot and before Loki. Now, looking at the list, I'm pretty sure this one's going to be Kraven the Hunter, a villain from Spider-Man. So yeah, should be pretty cool there. And the next one we have, we have actually quite a big gap, and I'm a little bit confused around the M area because we start in Magneto MA, and then we go to MS Marvel. So we've got Miss Marvel, that's how they're both labeled in the game, but then we go back to MO. So I'm a little bit confused around kind of the M's, because theoretically speaking, like, you know, S is after O in the alphabet, so those 2 characters should have been, like, you know, later in the M class. So I'm a little bit confused about that. But I think there are 3 characters that kind of popped out to me that can fill the space here. And I think we have Medusa, we have Misty Knight, and we also have Mysterio. So I think those characters, Mysterio could really nicely tie into maybe kind of the big Spider-Man event that they choose to do in the summer. Medusa, people have been talking about Inhuman stuff for a while, so there might be something around that. And Misty Knight, I'm not really too sure how she'd fit in the game, but you know, what kind of event they could do for her, but it's definitely a potential option that could fit in the gap. But I'm really open to any additional suggestions about the end there. Like, I'm a little bit curious about what that'll be. So Yondu and Nebula, they aren't actually featured in this. So after M we have N, and for sure we know definitely one of those is Nebula. But I think the second one is fairly likely to be Nova, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But we know definitely one of those question marks 100% is Nova. Now, I had a look. We got one just between, like, Punisher and Quake. Now, I wanted this to be Quicksilver, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a Netflix version of Punisher. Fairly certain on that. Also, Quicksilver, in terms of alphabetical order, does come slightly after Quake. So, it's probably not going to be Quicksilver. My money on this one is definitely a Netflix version of Punisher, which I think is going to be really, really badass if they can make him an amazing character. Like, the classic version of Punisher got a really, really good revamp in the previous patch. So, I think if they could kind of adjust it and make like a even more insane version with a little bit more utility, I think that's what Punisher's lacking. He's going to fit perfectly in there. Now, the next one we have, I found this one a little bit hard to predict, so it's between Spider-Man Miles Morales and also Star-Lord. I think to tie into the Spider-Man Homecoming movie, I feel like they might introduce another version of Spider-Man. They didn't really seem to be, if we go to S, like any characters that really fit like too well in between. None that are kind of it could potentially be Squirrel Girl, actually. That is an option. It could either be a Spider-Man Homecoming version or Squirrel Girl. Actually, now that I look at that, that's pretty likely because it's between Spider-Man and Star-Lord. I don't know. I'm going to update my list. Let's add Squirrel Girl down there. But I feel like with the movie tie-in, I don't know, it's likely we could see a Homecoming version of Spider-Man, but not really too sure on that one. Now, the next one, between Vision and War Machine, this one is so blindingly obvious to me with the release of Spider-Man Homecoming. It's definitely Vulture. Vulture 1,000,000% confirmed on this one. This is one without a shadow of a doubt that I am 100% sure is the villain here. Between, if you look in terms of alphabetical order, between Vision and War Machine, you have you pretty much have like no other kind of mainstream options apart from Vulture. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be Vulture to tie into the release of Spider-Man Homecoming. And then finally, the question mark just behind Yellow Jacket is one we already know about, and that is Yondu. So, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of potential amazing characters there. Out of all of them, I'd say the one that I don't know, I'm so excited for so many of them. I think Dr. Octopus, Gladiator Hulk are definitely two of them that I'm pretty sure about, and also I think they're going to be like incredible characters. It seems like we're going to see potentially a bit of science. I think if I was to go and make like class predictions for all of them, I think Bullseye or Boomerang, if they're going to be added to the game, I reckon they're going to be skill. I reckon Carnage is going to be a cosmic character. Doc Ock, I reckon, is going to be science. Green Goblin, I think he's probably going to be science as well as Gladiator Hulk, science. Hobgoblin, I'd probably chuck him in science as well. Kraven the Hunter, I think he might be skill based. I guess you could make an argument, sorry, going back to Green Goblin, for him being mutant. A lot of these seems quite sciencey so far, but I'm interested to see. I think Kraven the Hunter, probably skill. Medusa could be a cosmic character. Misty Knight, I reckon, probably fits quite nicely into skill. Mysterio, he could be mystic. He could be science as well. There are two ways that you could label him. I mean, to be honest, like in terms of class, they put Howard the Duck, who is a talking duck, into a giant battle mech suit and made him a tech champion. So yeah, actually going back to thinking about this again, like Green Goblin, he could be a tech character. Same with Hobgoblin. So there are different ways that they could work the characters to fit into different classes. Yeah, actually thinking about that a little bit more, like Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, they could all fit pretty well into the tech label, so I think that could work as well. Yeah, again, Mysteria, I think he's pretty likely to be a Mystic, could be tech, could be science. Nebula, we know 100% is going to be tech. Nova, I think Nova's a bit of an interesting one. Could be maybe science or cosmic, not really too sure. I don't know like a huge amount about Nova and where he could possibly land. I think Punisher Netflix is most likely going to be a skill-based champion. Spider-Man Homecoming, if they have him, is going to be science. I think Squirrel Girl would probably also fall under the science category there. Like, I don't really see her being anything else. Vulture, I'm pretty sure he could land under the tech. He also might land under science. I guess with a lot of the tech or science characters, they could just go either way, really. And then we know Yondu for sure is going to be tech. So I think amongst this list, you know, if we've got all the predictions fairly in the right direction, there aren't many mutant characters, there aren't many mystic characters. And I think with like the last kind of like 6 to 12 months we've had in Marvel Contest of Champions, that's probably a good thing, because like the mutant and mystic class, we've had so many new characters. Like if you look at some of the characters, you know, in the last 12 months in terms of the mutant class, we've had Archangel, Beast, Cable, we have had Gambit, Iceman, Nightcrawler, Psylocke, Wolverine X-23, Rogue. There have been so many new mutant characters in terms of Mystic. We've had like Mordo, we've had Dormammu, we've had Hood, we've had Ghost Rider, we've had Dr. Voodoo. So I think those two classes in particular, they have been quite flushed out recently, and some of the other classes have been a little bit lacking, but I'm interested to see, like, this is so incredibly fascinating to me, how they've released something that allows us to almost perfectly identify which characters, or at least narrow down the characters that are going to be added to the game. There's no room in air, so the first thing I looked for after Dr. Octopus was Sandman. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's going to be an opening for that, because that would just be before Scarlet Witch in terms of this diagram. So yeah, interested to see. Like, this is just so incredibly fascinating. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think of my predictions. Do you think they're fairly spot on? Do you think we're a little bit off with some of the new characters? Let me know in the comments below. Apart from that, thank you for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to leave a like. That'd be greatly appreciated. Apart from that, take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.